Lecture 11: The Cause and Cure of Disease. Disease is, as the name indicates, dis-ease, and means an absence of ease. Pathologically speaking, according to one of the definitions of the Century Dictionary, disease is a deviation from the healthy or normal condition of any of the functions or tissues of the body, and therefore it is necessary to ascertain what the normal condition of the body is before we may know when it is in a diseased or abnormal condition. And to know this, we must learn how the body is built. Start with its lower aspect. We find that the physical body is made up of a great number of little individual lives, which the modern physicist calls atoms. These atoms group and form what is called molecules. A number of these molecules grouped together form a complex individual life, which is called a cell, and the grouping together of a number of cells forms an organ, tissue, muscle, etc. And the combination of the necessary muscles, tissues, organs, bones, and fluids forms a mass or body, which has a common rate of vibration and a shape. Did you ever stop to think why your physical body holds its form? Why should not your arm fly off into space in one direction while a foot goes in another direction? It is because there is a dominant mass vibration which holds together the different portions of the body responding to it. The earth is held together by the law of gravitation. There is a mass tone which holds its component parts together as one. And so long as that vibratory force continues to play upon this planet, there can never be a disintegration of it. In the same way, each person has his own personal law of gravitation, or mass vibration, which holds all the parts of his body together. This magnetic force, personal law of gravitation, or mass vibration of the body, is the vibration of the objective mind, which ensouls it. Its normal color should be green, but the development of the man determines the color at any time in his evolution. And in the earlier stages of his development, when his desires and passions are dominant, his vibrations drop lower than the green and he becomes a dirty brown. The objective mind gives the physical body its shape, and it is because of the presence of the mind in the body that the particles, which come from all sources to make up the magnetic sphere, group themselves into the form of the physical man. You have placed a horseshoe magnet over a quantity of steel fillings, and have seen them rush together and crowd themselves around the magnet, taking its form. The atoms, like the steel filings, are drawn to the magnet mind, and though they come from earth, air, food, and water, they are held together in the position they occupy by the mass vibration of the objective mind. While there is a mass vibration, still each organ has an individual modification of this vibration. Otherwise it could not be an organ separate and distinct from the rest of the body. And while each organ responds, as it were, to the dominant tone, it also has its subtone. In the liver, for example, there is the orange life force, which has drawn together all the particles which compose that organ. The blood, passing through the liver, has a tendency to modify the orange vibrations with its own, which is red. The dominant note of the objective mind, which is green, holds together this mass of red and orange vibrations because it is higher and therefore stronger, and you have the three colors blended together in a mass of mixed vibrations, which make brown. The color of the liver, seen subjectively, looks very much as it does objectively. When the vibration of the objective mind is the controlling or dominant vibration of all the organs of the physical body, then it is in a normal or healthy condition. Disease is the lowering below the normal of the vibrations of a part or of all the body, except in cases of disruption or misplacement of bones or other parts of the body. For illustration, we will take the liver again, which has its own separate, organic, complex existence by reason of its construction. Its cells are held together by the orange organic vibration, yet these vibrations are modified and controlled by the higher mass vibration of the objective mind. Now suppose the liver, instead of responding to the higher mass vibrations, gradually begins to lose them, and takes a lower rate of vibration. Then you have what is called a torpid liver. Disease manifests in one of two general ways. First, where the vibration of an organ is itself lowered, and it manifests disharmony within itself, and second, where the vibration of an organ is lowered and it becomes demagnetized sufficiently to permit foreign atoms to enter and set up an independent action. The first condition, if it be not corrected, will cause disintegration or disruption of the entire organ. The second condition results in great relaxation with large interstices between the atoms, where foreign elements enter and set up a disharmonious separate organization, as for example in tuberculosis, cancer, or tumor. Occultism teaches that all disease has its root or origin in ignorance. The reason persons do not have long lives is because they do not know how to live. It is reported that Professor Loeb, Dr. Matthews, and others think that if we could discover the proper electrical conditions, we could prolong the human life to more than 200 years. It is said by physicists that most animals live about 5 times as long as required for them to mature. Applying this rule to man, he ought to live to be at least 105 years old. That he does not live to this age is because he does not understand the laws of life and the real nature of disease. He knows nothing about controlling the atoms which compose his body, nor how to use the cosmic forces with which he is constantly surrounded for the purpose of revivifying his physical body. The wages of sin, ignorance, is death, and disease is the result of mental conditions. For example, take a common cold. In 99 cases out of 100, colds are contracted when people are mentally negative. The mind, instead of being positive, instead of dominating its physical particles and holding them contracted into a proper shape, becomes relaxed and negative and loses its force. As a consequence, the body responds to this relaxed condition. The molecules become abnormally separated, and foreign elements enter and set up an independent activity of their own. The cause was mental relaxation or negativeness. Why does a piece of glass receive the impression from the point of a diamond when the diamond will not receive an impression from the glass? Because the diamond is of a quick, positive, high rate of vibration, while the glass is negative and of a much slower rate than the diamond. The glass cannot enter the interstices of the diamond because of its intense vibration. Thus it is with the mind that it is positive and strong. It can dominate and control its body so well that foreign destructive elements cannot enter into it. Some diseases can be traced back to the mental condition which produced them, and some cannot. Many cases of heart trouble are directly traceable to fear. The mind, working upon the body, causes an irregular flow of blood. The fear, with its concomitant heart disturbance, commences a vibration of an abnormal rate, and soon that condition, which in the beginning was a functional trouble, become organic disease. Many fevers are due to fear. The first thing you should do for a patient who is suffering with fever is to take away his fear, and his temperature will drop degrees at a time. The cause of congestion of different organs of the body can be tracked back to a violent paroxysm of anger. Professor Elmer Gates of Washington, D.C. has found that a large number of acids and poisons in the blood are created by the direct action of the mind. Sometimes the mental cause cannot be traced, because there have been several different mental conditions which combine to produce the material result. Then, too, a disease is often produced mentally, and before it appears physically, other mental conditions have arisen, which prevents its being traced to its original cause. Occultism goes so far as to declare that even the so-called hereditary diseases are due to the mental condition of the sufferer, because it is the mental condition or quality of the mind during a previous incarnation which brought him into that particular family and compelled him to take the diseased body at birth. Disease may be divided into 2 classes, the imaginary and the real. Imaginary disease is a picture held firmly by the objective mind which causes more or less physical correspondence. This kind of disease is often created in total disregard of the laws governing anatomy or physiology, and is the hardest to cure, because persons possessed of it hold to it so persistently that an entire revision of their mode of thought must be made before it can be cured. It is not at all infrequent to have a patient complain of kidney disease, locating the pain and the organ several inches below the waistline. The spleen is often supposed to be on the right side of the body, and phantom tumors appear and disappear. But all these mental pictures, if held long enough, create matrices or vortices, and draw into them the elements that will bring finally the actual disease that was at first purely imaginary. For example, sometimes indigestion and gases in the stomach cause a distension of that organ. It presses up against the heart region, causing a functional disturbance of the heart, and the patient becomes convinced that he has organic heart disease. This picture in the patient's mind is the matrix, and his fear of the disease draws it to him in course of time. If the mind holds the picture of anything long enough, whether it be disease or health, poverty or prosperity, that picture must and will materialize. You, who have followed Charcot's experiments, need no further proof of the action of the mind upon the body. The second class, or real disease, produced primarily by mental causes and often supplemented by proximate physical cause, must be cured by controlling the imaging faculty. And in this connection, let it be understood that the words cure and heal are used as popularly understood, and will be used interchangeably, not in any specialized sense as some modern metaphysicians use them. To cure real disease is to restore to a normal condition the functions or tissues of the body, and to do this the vibrations of the affected part must be raised to their normal rate. In causes of misplacement, dislocation, or broken bones, the quickest way to obtain relief is to send for a competent physician or an anatomist and have an adjustment made of the injured member or organ. In case of disruption of blood vessels or muscles, a surgeon's aid should be immediately sought. Not because mind is unable to cure any or all of these cases, but because of the fact that at the present time, even among educated people, mind is many times impotent through misuse or non-use. Mental treatment should follow these physical treatments in order to obviate unnecessary suffering and to obtain rapid recovery. In cases where the vibrations of a part of the body have been lowered or where foreign particles have entered, there are several material methods of restoring health or harmony to the affected parts. One of these is stimulation by physical manipulation, as in the practice of osteopathy. Another is stimulation through electrical appliances. Neither of these methods, however, reach the mental cause for the disease, and even though the physical disturbance be removed through either method, it can only be a question of time before it reappears. The electrical current is a part of the cosmic blue current, and by intelligent use it may be made to raise the vibrations of an affected part and restore it to its normal condition. Unaided by mind, it can only remove the effects, and never the cause of the disease. The time is not far distant when the two great therapeutical agencies for healing the sick will be electricity, representing the material school, and mind, representing the metaphysical school. A third means of curing disease is by properly prepared non-poisonous vegetable compounds. The occultist does not believe in the use of mineral drugs, nor does he believe that poisons should be administered to a patient. Most minerals and poisons are of such a low rate of vibration that when introduced into the physical body, they serve to finally lower its vibrations rather than to raise them. Though they stimulate temporarily, the reaction leaves the patient in a worse condition. Poisons sometimes appear to effect a cure because upon their administration, the acute form of the disease disappears. But even a close study of effects teaches us that the disease was not cured. Its expression was changed, but it soon appeared in another form and place, and a new name had to be invented to designate it from the old one. To deny that drugs have an effect upon the human body, as do some of the radical metaphysicians at the present time, is to deny and ignore the observations of daily life, and also the law of physics, which asserts that two or more bodies coming into juxtaposition mutually affect each other, and also excludes consciousness from a part of the universe. Yet these same metaphysicians eat food to sustain their physical bodies, while denying that matter affects matter. The mineral kingdom supports the vegetable kingdom, and the latter supports the animal kingdom, and according to the natural order of things, it is unreasonable to pass over and ignore as an impotent the very kingdom that supplies our food, and to go among the minerals for our medicines. The vegetables used for remedies must be properly and scientifically compounded. However, if the best results are to be had from their use, but the same care must also be observed with the preparation of our food. In materia medica, there is never an allowance made for a difference in the vibrations of persons who are being treated. A man vibrating green would receive the same prescription from a physician that one would receive who was vibrating red or brown. This is the reason modern medicine is what is called an experimental science. When a vegetable remedy has been suitably compounded for an individual according to his vibrations, a cure will be effected by that remedy. When the same medicine, if it were given to another person suffering from the same disease, but whose vibrations were of a totally different rate or color, would have a different effect. The vibrations of the vegetable remedies must supplement the lowered vibrations of the person using them, if good results are to be had. Let it be understood, however, that occultism teaches that mind is the supreme power, and when properly developed and trained, can cure all diseases, and that in the course of time it will be the only force that man will use to keep the human body in a normal, healthy, and harmonious condition. But until that Arcadian time shall come, it is not well to deny that the great consciousness has also provided for its undeveloped children material ways and means for their relief from physical ills. In curing disease by the power of mind, there is the conscious and the unconscious use of the cosmic forces. All the modern metaphysical schools differ somewhat among themselves in regard to the process by which cures are performed, yet all perform some remarkable ones. Some schools use strenuous denials and consciously or unconsciously hypnotize their patients, and while the patients are in the condition change their thought, and in this manner change the manifestation of the disease they are suffering from. Other schools, through repeated suggestion, cause the patient to accept a new line of thought, and with the change of thought, the body changes. In both these classes of cases, it is the direct action of mind upon mind which brings about the change in the condition of the patients. Other schools, through denials and affirmations, or through affirmations and demand, petition or prayer, and through picturing the desired result, unconsciously put into operation the cosmic forces. The occult school uses consciously the cosmic forces for the purpose of healing. In the last two named schools, there is not only the action of mind upon mind, but new elements are drawn into the physical body of the patient, whereby the old, diseased atoms are cast out and new ones are left in their places. There are three things that the occultist attempts to do in making a cure through mental means. First, he destroys the mental picture of disease which his patient holds as a matrix. Second, he raises the vibrations of that portion of the body which has become lowered and makes it vibrate normally, thus forcing out all foreign elements. And third, he supplements the elements driven out with new elements, which are introduced into the system by the cosmic force flowing through it. Here are a few rules that may be helpful to you in demonstrating over disease. First, it is well to avoid seeing the manifestation of the disease if possible. By doing this, you will not have the picture of disease constantly in mind and will be able to see more clearly the picture of perfect health you must create for the patient. If you do not see the objective symptoms of an ugly wound or an artificial growth, it is easier to make a perfect image and to present that picture to the mind of the patient. In cases where there are only subjective symptoms, never let your sympathies go out to the patient, but hold yourself positive against any emotion of fear which he may have. The moment your own emotions become joined with his, your power to destroy his mental pictures of disease is weakened. You have then accepted his creations and are but accentuating the pictures in his mind. Second, when you have learned from the patient that what his creations are, you are able to destroy by denying their permanency if they exist temporarily, or by denying them absolutely if they are imaginary. After making your denials, follow them with affirmations of that which is true. Create a perfect physical condition for your patient, and hold that thought picture till he himself accepts it. Should a patient come to you claiming heart disease, when the physical disturbance was nothing but indigestion, do not deny his claim audibly, lest he be offended. It is not necessary to give a patient a diagnosis of his actual condition, because sometimes this would but intensify his fears. In actual disease, deny its permanency and affirm health. For example, in a case of a cold, deny its permanency and declare positiveness for the patient. And as his vibrations are raised, direct the cosmic force through his body. As his relaxed condition is corrected and the interstices between the atoms grow smaller, the foreign elements become crowded out or expelled from the system. And under this treatment, every part of the body will respond to the positive condition of your mind. Denials destroy, affirmations create. The Christian scientists and many mental scientists use denials largely and sometimes exclusively, while the New Thought scientists use affirmations alone. It is urged by this last named class of healers that the denial is contained in the affirmation. But to mentally affirm a healthy condition without denying or destroying the pictures of disease held by the patient is like attempting to build a new house on a site already occupied by another building without first clearing the ground. You could take out an old brick and put a new one in its place till the new house was built, but it would require a much longer time than it would to tear down the old structure first. Third, in ordinary treatment, take the left hand of your patient with your right hand, that the cosmic force may enter your left side and pass out at your right, or positive side into the left or receptive side of the patient. You should remain in a positive condition of mind while treating in this manner, or your own personal magnetism or life force will be drawn from you with the cosmic force into the patient. Fourth, in a case of depleted mental condition of a patient, in epilepsy, insanity, and in spinal trouble, place your right hand upon the top of the patient's head while giving the treatment. This position throws the current where it is most needed, and the results will be more nearly immediate. Fifth, in cases of cancers, tumors, boils, swellings, or any kind of separate growth, cover the affected part with a white silk handkerchief, and then place your right hand over it while giving the treatment. The object in doing this is twofold. First, by covering the growth with a handkerchief, you do not see it, and are better able to picture perfection in its place. And second, by placing your hand upon the affected part, you bring the current of force directly into it, and this conserves force. Sixth, keep your left hand off the patient when treating. Otherwise, you form a complete circuit with him, and as the new life goes into him through his left hand or side, you draw his old worn-out or demagnetized atoms into yourself, thereby lowering your own rate of vibration and bringing a physical condition upon yourself similar to that which you are trying to relieve. Seventh, in separate growths, use the highest shade of the particular cosmic force or color you have selected to use for your patient. Suppose you desire to use green, then treat with the ultra ray of green, because that is the highest rate of vibration of that color and will bring the quickest results. Herein lies the great success of the occultist over the majority of healers, and over those who use mechanical processes. When the X-ray, which is now known to be one of the higher shades of green, is thrown upon an individualized growth, it immediately commences its disruptive process, and much better results are obtained than with a knife. Its limitation is like that of surgery in that it does not reach the blood. Consequently, if the germs are through the blood of the patient, there will be a return of the disease. But if the healer places his hand over the affected part and uses the ultra shade of the cosmic color selected and directs the current through the entire system, the germs will be destroyed and a return of the disease will be impossible. Eighth, concentrate on the aura of the patient to get his predominant color, and then ask of the universal consciousness that the color may be made known to you. This should be done in case you are not clairvoyant and do not see cosmic colors at will. Through this practice, you will learn to sense the color or vibration of a person as you sense his character. Ninth, demand of deity that you may be used as an instrument for it to manifest through. This demand, like any other, must and will be met, because whatever is held in mind constantly must sooner or later materialize. If you desire to be a healer of the sick and to relieve suffering, the thought in your mind makes of you that kind of a center, and if you are honest and faithful, all the healing powers in the universe will flow through you in order that your demands may be fulfilled. It is the mental condition which draws or repels cosmic force, and the better life you live, the purer your thoughts, and the higher your aspirations, the more perfectly can cosmic forces be used by you to restore health to others. 10th, always treat yourself for positiveness before treating a patient. According to your own positiveness, can you be a channel or center through which cosmic forces can flow? Declare mentally something like this: divine force is made manifest in me. I am positive, positive, positive. I have the power to destroy sickness and ignorance. This declaration will raise your own vibrations and make you a better instrument. If you are not positive, your own animal magnetism is likely to pass from you to your patient, and you will be left in a depleted condition. Another reason for becoming positive before commencing to treat a patient is that you may not take upon yourself the pains or disease from your patient, as so many metaphysicians do. 11th, always use the color or shade of the color next higher in the scale of vibration than the predominating color of your patient. Suppose you're going to treat a person who vibrates in the higher shade of green, then use the blue cosmic force, which he must respond to, but which he will react from. But by using a color higher than his normal one, you raise his vibrations, and when the reaction comes, he will not go below the highest shades of his own color, and the relief he receives will be permanent. 12th, realize that these cosmic forces are manifesting as vibrations or color. Do not think of them as color merely. Let their force aspect be predominant in your mind, and when treating with them, picture them as sparkling vibrations flowing into you and through you into your patient. 13th, use suggestion as a supplemental aid to the treatment by color. Use it for the purpose of destroying in the mind of your patient the picture of disease and for creating a new picture of health. For example, first get the full name of your patient and then call him mentally by that name until you feel you have his attention. Remember, everyone must receive every thought that is repeatedly sent to him. Whether he accepts it or not is another matter. If your patient has a pet name, one that he hears most at home. Use that until he is listening to what you have to say. We'll suppose he's called Jim. You say, Jim, you are mind, and being mind, you cannot be diseased. Immediately, you have made a distinction in the patient's mind between his mind, himself, and his body. And now you have his mind working with you to establish the physical condition you desire. Then say, your body is constantly changing, but you are mind and can control your body. You can draw new atoms, new life into yourself, and health can be restored. Suggest the power to control and to bring health. With every treatment, say you have no fear or disease because you know you are getting well. It is best to repeat each of these suggestions slowly several times in order that the patient may grasp them fully. And when you have removed the demagnetizing low vibrations of fear, the higher vibrations of health will flow into the patient. From your patient, as so many metaphysicians do. Destroy fear and all feverish conditions disappear. Suppose the patient has consumption of the lungs. Fear that he has an incurable disease is the first thing to remove from his mind. Then image for him the picture of perfect lungs with the cosmic force flowing through them and use such suggestions, denials, and affirmations as your intuition directs. 15th, use a few words as possible to express your thoughts. The more clearly and concisely your ideas are expressed, the more easily will they be impressed upon the mind of the patient. Instead of saying God is love and you are a manifestation of his idea and therefore cannot express anything but love, and instead of giving a philosophical explanation of the relationship between God and the patient and showing how God will answer his prayers for help and health, say something short and decisive such as, you are not afraid of this disorder. You cannot be afraid because it is nothing to fear. You are getting well. You are mind and can control your body. These are a few of the rules and suggestions which may be used in successful mind healing. There are others, but I am now trying to show you those which exemplify the laws which underlie the phenomena of healing. There is a law which lies behind form, and if you understand and practice these suggestions I have made, you can gradually change the rates of vibration of your body and also its form until you can make it precisely what you desire. Through this practice will come the power to help others, for with every effort you will grow stronger. By attending a course of 12 lectures on harmony, you will not become a great musician, but you may in those lectures be taught how to study and how to practice. It is by diligent practice that a proficiency in anything can be attained, and so it is with occultism. It is the regular mental practice, the use of cosmic forces, the imaging, the controlling, the directing, the thinking that makes you strong. Having given you the rules, it remains with you whether this knowledge shall be purely intellectual or whether you will make practical use of it.